This is the civil unrest they've been preparing for, that we've been telling you about, why the police are being militarized. Now, this is Washington Times today. Pentagon studying protesters to prep for mass civil breakdown. They are studying how social movement mobilizes, what starts it in the first place, and their aim is to find when is the tipping point of civil uprisings. So they want to know where exactly the protests turn violent, and basically how far can they go, how much can they push us, and at what point will people, when will they have enough? So obviously they're studying social media and Twitter. They're following protesters and activists, anyone who questions, anyone who is anti-government, right? It's not the illegal aliens who don't really care about this country and what we stand for. They are going to demand that the government take care of them even more and better than they are right now, because they're throwing away the cold eggs that they're giving them, allegedly. Now, cops are also being told to look out for more of this anti-government far-right extremism. Mikhail Thalen reports on a new counterterrorism bulletin that's being passed around to New York State law enforcement. And it tells them specifically, prepare for increased violence from far-right extremists. Now, Alex Jones has been saying, get ready, they are going to prepare another false flag that has to deal with far-right extremists or patriots. But the fact is, most of the people in this country right now are anti-government. They have record low approval ratings. Now we have a failing Veterans Administration. All of our veterans are out there suffering, waiting to get health care. Some of them are homeless. Meanwhile, we're getting VIP treatment to illegal aliens. So of course, people are going to be fed up even more. Why are our taxpayer dollars going for this and not for that? And law enforcement, your local law enforcement, is being given war machinery to handle their civil unrest. People, they know we are about to hit critical mass. They've been prepping and planning for this. Meanwhile, while we're dealing with this, Iraq is experiencing an exodus of its own. People there are leaving the country because Al-Qaeda and ISIS is taking over. It is complete bloodshed, seemingly happening overnight. They're beheading soldiers, leaving them in the street as a warning. They've already instituted a really archaic form of Sharia law. And Obama has announced today that he's not going to be sending any ground troops into Iraq to help out, but he will be considering strikes over the coming days. And of course, the corporate media is just salivating at the prospect of going to war, the thought of reintervention in Iraq, because of course the mainstream media is the propaganda arm of the war machine. And our troops, all of our veterans who fought that war in Iraq, are saying, what is the point of all of those lost lives? It's worse now than it was before. And of course, all of this just coincides perfectly with Obama promising that America is going to pull out of all that foreign war. We're going to focus a little more here at home, which is kind of an ominous thought now with all that we're going through currently. I don't really know if I want to close off the borders, because then that means, yeah, we can keep illegals out, but it also means that they can keep us in. So that's a very frightening thought. But of course, what the mainstream media is not covering is just how the U.S. is arming both sides of the conflict there in Iraq. Now, this article is by Zero Hedge, up on Infowars.com in its entirety, very detailed there.
The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare. MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families, and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the info war. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
Join us at InfoWarsNews.com and present PrisonPlanet.tv. Members can share their memberships with up to 11 people. By subscribing, you will literally be buying war bonds in the info war to expand our operation in the face of the tyrants. Join us at PrisonPlanet.tv.